I made a video and I posted on Facebook. This Saturday night is Shavuot. Who doesn't know what Shavuot is all about? Everybody knows what Shavuot is all about?
It's staying up all night.
Shavuot is the most powerful night of the year as far as receiving the ultimate light force of God. It's the night that God Himself came over what we assume was Mount Sinai, or it says Mount Sinai. And it says that all the souls of Bnei Israel were at the bottom of the Mount Sinai. That means every one of us were there. We experienced something phenomenal. We experienced the ultimate light force of God. And what happened? For a split second, the light was so powerful that we all died. A clinical death, what we call today's clinical death. You know, some people that die and then they come back again. That's what happened not only to human being, to all God's creation. Everybody died for a split second because it was so powerful, and then everybody was reborn again for a split second. So what happened? What was the energy? They call it, in Hebrew, they call it Bila Hamavet Benetzach. That means it was the end of darkness. It was the end of negativity. It was the end of end. It was the light force. We all became rejuvenated. We all became alive. So, and the story goes that everybody was at the bottom of the Mount Sinai. For 3 days they prepared themselves. And on this night of 6 of Sivan, which is this Saturday night, God told everyone to stay at the bottom of the Mount Sinai and I will come. And everybody stayed up thinking God is going to show up at midnight. Naturally, when He said, I'm coming tonight, everybody thought, okay, God is going to come at 12 o'clock. Didn't happen. They said, okay, maybe He's fashionably late. 12:30, nothing happened. 1 o'clock, nothing happened. So God showed up right before dawn. Right before dawn. So some people fell into sleep. Not everybody could stay up all night. They were waiting, exciting. I mean, it was amazing. Imagine, you know, they tell you God is coming tonight. So what would you do? You stay up to catch His energy. So because of that, because some people fell to sleep at the moment that God showed Himself or manifested Himself, we stay up all night again for 2 reasons. Once, according to science, we know when an energy happens in this world, it never disappears. So the energy of the Shavuot comes back on Earth, comes to the whole cosmos on the night of Shavuot. The same energy, same powerful light of Bila Hamavet Benetzach is going to reveal itself. And once you know that such a light exists and it's happening, and you connect to it, and you desire to connect to it, you receive all that light force. You know, the Kabbalists guarantee, you know, it's funny, everybody guarantees something. Like, we have this life insurance that they guarantee that when you die, you receive some money. There is a life insurance on Shavuot from the Kabbalists, from Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, from the Ari. And they say, if you stay up all night that night, you receive the light that gives you life for at least a year. You can change your destiny. God forbid, if something is meant to happen, you will dodge the bullet. You will receive such a light force that it helps you to continue to have not just a healthy life, a meaningful life for a year. You will receive everything that night. And we have a lot of fun. Has anybody been with us? Who's here that's been with us? Of course, Shema Hamshabudin. We stay up all night. We read the whole Sefer Torah. We bring the whole Sefer Torah. We don't read the whole thing. We read the beginning of each parasha and the end of each parasha. And before each parasha, I give just a few minutes of Kabbalistic energy of that section. And it's a lot of fun. And everybody brings food, a lot of dairy food, cheesecake, chame, you know, you name it. Juna.
Is it
It could be in English.
Okay.
It could be in English, like it's, you know, tonight's class is English, so It could be in English. If the audience is young, I always get encouraged to speak English. And it usually is. Huh?
We're all young here.
Beautiful. So please join us. I promise you, you're going to have an amazing time. I promise you, you're not going to fall into sleep. We take a lot of break. I say a lot of joke that I usually don't say joke, but I have a lot of Shirazi joke that I share with you, a lot of Kabbalistic joke. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. You'll be amazed how many people show up and how many people stay in the morning. And you receive such an energy. It's so uplifting. We start at 10 o'clock. We come at 10 o'clock, there's going to be a lot of food, a lot of dairy food, kashko badem jun, masto khiyar, hummus, you name it, tuna, everything that is dairy, ash, yes.
And it's a potluck.
Fruits,
You can bring
and it's a potluck. Everybody can bring something. Kosher, please, if you bring, if you don't bring it from your home, make sure you bring a kosher sweet or dairy or whatever. So do join us. It's a lot of fun, and you get a lot of energy. I remember the very first night that I stayed up all night, I had so much energy in the morning, I went to play basketball. That was 25, 30 years ago, of course. I was much younger. But I had so much energy, I couldn't go to bed. And it still happens the same thing. You receive so much energy. It's really an extraordinary act. It's an extraordinary act. Come on, try it. If you haven't tried it, come on, try it. It's a lot of fun. And because it's Shavuot, there's not going to be too many parties in town. So no excuse. Even if you go to a restaurant, you can come after the dinner. Come for the dessert and spiritual uplifting. And energy. No, it's a tremendous amount of energy. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Okay. Any question before I start? No question? We're good? All right, the topic that was recommended, Juna.
Today's Rosh Chodesh.
Today is Rosh Chodesh. Yes, today is the Rosh Chodesh of month of Sivan. It's the month of the constellation of Gemini. Who's a Gemini here? No Gemini?
Yes. And it's
Only my wife. You know, one thing, just want to share something about the month of Sivan. Month of Sivan is sign of Gemini. And Gemini are famous to be two faces, like they're two different characters. Let me tell you from someone who has a lot of Geminis in his family, they are million faces. Every day they are different. And it's a good thing if you don't want to get bored. And it's an amazing month. It's a month of Matan Torah. It's a month that we receive the Torah. So it's a very powerful month. They say that God gave all the wisdom to Gemini. So they are smart people. They're very, very smart people. Very logical, very good-hearted people. And there are two letters. We know that Hebrew letters are the DNA creation of the word. They're not just simply a language or alphabet. They have power. They have energy consciousness. And in Abraham Avinu, in the very first Hebrew book that we have called Sefer Yetzirah, which is Book of Formation, it's the oldest book that we have in Hebrew. It's written by Abraham Avinu, and he goes into details of the constellation and months and calendar. And he says that there are two letters that they are responsible of creating this month. One is letter Resh, which created the planet of Mercury, Kochav, and then the letter Zayin, which created the constellation of Gemini. These two letters together is Resh and Zayin is what? Raz, which means secrets. So all the secrets of life, which is in the Torah, is within this month. So it's a very powerful month, very powerful month. And today is the Rosh Chodesh. It has it's the seed of this month. It's a positive month. It's a very good month. That's why there's a lot of happening in town, and there's going to be a lot of wedding, especially right after Shavuot. A lot of simchas. And, enjoy this month. It's a positive month. Take advantage of it. Okay. The topic of tonight's class was suggested by Julia about judgment. The whole concept of judgment. And before I explain where the whole energy of judgment comes from, I want everybody to get involved, to participate in the class, because this is a class that you need to help me to understand what is judgment is all about. Is judgment good or bad? It depends on what?
If you're trying to figure out if your situation is good for you or
A little bit louder. If you try to figure out the situation, if it's good or bad?
Yeah.
Yes. Why not louder? Because it's loud. So, why God created this consciousness of judging? Why do we judge?
Because we have choice.
Juna?
Because we have choice.
We have choices. Beautiful. Yes. Yes.
Judgment is also decision.
Exactly. Without judgment, without judging, we cannot make any decision. So, but then we judge good and we judge bad. We don't know if our judgment is always right. Right?
Evaluation and judgment is different.
Evaluation and judgment is different. Very good. They are different.
And also, decision and judgment is two different things. Judgment is, that's when the judge make the judgment.
Right. Decision
is my
is the
choice
byproduct.
to make a decision.
Decision is a byproduct of judgment. You're right. So, do you think that in our society people use the judgment in a proper way?
No.
Mostly not. One thing we hear from people is, don't judge me. Don't judge me. Or don't judge negativity. You know, Lashon Hara is the byproduct of judgment, right? Saying negative is the cause of the ability to judge. Is the concept of judge part of the free will, you think?
Yes.
Right? Because it's only the human being who judge. It's the consciousness of a human being that has the power to judge. So what kind of judgment is good? What is a good judgment?
Positive.
Can you give an example of a positive judgment?
So I know somebody, whenever I talk to him, when he wants to judge somebody, what is this positive about?
Judging positivity. Very good. Very good. You know, if we understand, you know, in Kabbalah we always try to understand the cause of things, not the effect of things. We don't want to fix the effect. If we understand the source of judgment, how did it come about? When did the consciousness of judgment came to physically manifested in the world? We have to go back, and I have to be a little bit technical, go to the concept of Sefirot to understand when judgment started in the universe. We have three powerful patriarchs, Abraham, Ishaq, and Yaakov. Okay? Abraham was the father of Ishaq, Isaac, and Isaac was the father of Yaakov. And we are called Bnei Israel, which is another name of Yaakov, or Bnei Yaakov. They don't call us Bnei Abraham, they don't call us Bnei Isaac, they call us Bnei Yaakov or Bnei Abraham, Bnei Israel. There are times, we know that when Yaakov overcame that negative angel who represented his ego, when he overcame that, he was elevated to the level of Israel. he was no longer Yaakov. God calls him, from now on, I'm going to call you Israel. But then again, we see in the Torah, there are times right after, imagine God comes and tells you, from now on, your name is not Nader, your name is Israel. And then, a few months later, he's going to call me Nader. Excuse me, didn't you change my name? Then we see in the Torah, right, even after God's an angel tell Yaakov that from now on, your name is no longer Yaakov, your name is Israel. Then we see in the Torah that sometimes call Yaakov, and sometimes he calls him Israel. Now, in Kabbalah, we understand that we have 10 Sefirot. There are 10 different levels of energy that the whole creation was created from. And I explained this the last two sessions, that the first 3 Sefirot, Keter, Chokhmah, and Bina, they are purely light force of God. They don't have any physicality. The physical world starts with the seven lower Sefirot, the 7 days of creation. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then the 6 Sefirot, which we call Zeir Anpin, and the last one, which is called Malchut, were manifested through the patriarchs. When Abraham came to this world, he created the Sefirah of Chesed. It says in the Zohar that God created all the energy of kindness, love, and conditional love through Abraham. What does it mean? Let me go on a little bit. And then when God wanted to create the energy of Gevurah, which means judgment, and strength, power, he created that through Isaac. So Isaac represents this Sefirah of Gevurah. Yaakov represents the central column, which is Tiferet, which means balance and beauty. Netzach is Moshe, Hod is Aharon, Yesod is Yosef HaSaddik, and Malchut is David HaMelech. Now, the only thing that I want to talk about tonight is these 3 Sefirot, Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet. The Star of David has 2 triangles, right? There is an upper triangle and a lower triangle. What we're talking tonight is about the upper triangle, which is Abraham, Ishaq, and Yaakov. Kindness, love, judgment, strength, and then balance or beauty. Let me make this a little bit more understanding when I say that when God wanted to create the energy of Chesed, he used Abraham. We have different form of metaphysical energy, right? Everything that we feel, it's not physical. When you feel love, it's not a physical thing. You don't touch love. You feel love. When you're feeling good, you're feeling good. When, God forbid, you feel bad, it's an energy force. It's not a physical thing. God wanted it to bring all these different energies into the physical. So in order to make everything physically manifested, he used different physical being to manifest what is in the upper world. They say, as above, so below. So everything that was in the world of metaphysics or spirituality, he used different physical vessels to manifest it. I'll give you an example. What does ants? What are ants for? What do ants do all day long? What do they do? Have you looked at the ants? What do they do? Do they go picnic? No. Do they go vacation? No. What do they do? Work for what? For food. All day, they go grab some food items, they bring it home. Do they eat it? No. What do? They go save it. They save it, they go get a seed, they save it, they go back, find another seed, they bring it back. They're so tiny, they don't consume everything that they save. But what is their consciousness? Saving. All they want to do in their life is to save. When God wanted to bring the energy of saving into the physical world, he used the ants to manifest the energy of saving into the world. They are the conduit of saving. So every physical being creates a different form of energy that is from God. So when God wanted to bring love, kindness, compassion, unconditional giving, being, sharing, patience, everything that comes from love, when he created Abraham, he manifested all that into the world. Everybody's okay till now?
Yeah.
Okay. Then God knew, just like what we talked about, there has to be a free will. If there is only love in this world, if there is nothing but love in this world, we can't really earn love. It's there. It's a free lunch. We won't really earn it. So he made a separation. From Abraham, Isaac was created, his son. And Isaac represents judgment and strength. When God wanted to manifest the power of judgment, every time that you judge, for whatever reason, good, bad, whatever reason, that source of energy that is your consciousness and makes you judge something, judge a fruit, judge a clothes, judge a friend, it comes from the Isaac part of your consciousness. But what is so amazing is there is a story in the Torah that God told Abraham to go and sacrifice your son. On the surface level, doesn't make any sense. God tells someone, just go kill your son. And I don't want to go there. I want to just talk about the Kabbalistic aspect of the story. Sacrifice, korban, in Hebrew means to come close. To come close to the light force of God. Every time we hear the word korban or sacrifice, it doesn't mean the sacrifice metaphor that we use these days. No, it's to coming close to God. So, actually it says in the Torah, go and bind Isaac. Bind, I apologize. Bind Isaac. So what does Abraham do? He takes Isaac, and I always thought Isaac is a little boy. When you hear the story when back in Iran, Abraham took his son, I thought, he's like a 7-year-old boy who doesn't know what his father is doing. Isaac was 39 years old. 39 years old. Abraham was 139. I mean, if somebody wanted to bind somebody else, it should have been Isaac binding Abraham, right? But anyway, let's not fall into the story as much as the story is juicy and beautiful. So Abraham comes and he binds Isaac. He binds Isaac so Isaac cannot move. Now that's the physical story. The spiritual aspect is the energy of Abraham, which is love and kindness. Love and kindness comes and bind judgment and strength. So the Torah is telling us, the Kabbalah is telling us, that God created judgment, created the strength from love, from kindness, not from, when you, let's say, your kids does something wrong. Out of your good heart, out of your love, you're going to tell your son, you know what, I have to give you a timeout. You cannot do this tonight. You're not doing it because you're simply mad at your kids or they've done something wrong. But out of the goodness, out of love, you make judgment and you use strength to make something proper. So when God created Isaac, he created from Abraham, from love. And then what is so fascinating is that there are several portions allocated to Abraham. That means there are several sections of the Torah that is designated for the manifestation of love and kindness and forgiveness and unconditional love and sharing and pairing and being there. So many pages of the Torah has that power of love. When it comes to Isaac, the story of Isaac is very, very short. We don't know much about Isaac. We know that he was a good boy and he was praying all the time.
So,
He was a good boy. And, you know, he married his wife, and his wife was actually chosen by Abraham's maid, servant. And then he sees Rivka. It says he sees Rivka. Very small story about Isaac. He sees Rivka, and he marries Rivka, and they have 2 sons, Yaakov and Esau. That's all we know about Isaac. And there is another section that Isaac wants to bless his sons. And there are 2 different blessings that Isaac gives to Yaakov and Esau. And from Isaac, we receive what we call Tiferet, the central column, or Yaakov, which represents Israel, which represents balance and beauty. Let's understand the 2 meaning of this energy force. One is balance. Tiferet means balance. Yaakov means balance. That means me and you, we are supposed to be balanced human beings. That means not to give too much love, not to do too much judgment, or if we do judgment, it has to be clothed, surrounded by love. And if I do that, if I am able to control too much kindness, too much giving, proper amount of love, so I have to restrict the love that I have in a proper way. You know, water is considered chesed, but too much water can create destruction. So water has to be contained properly to be used properly. So if I use proper amount of chesed to control my strength, my power of judgment, if I do that, then I become an entity which is called balance, and then it brings with itself beauty. Let me give you an example. I shared this with Anita, and she thought it's a good example. You know, these days it's spring and flowers all over the world, right? Have you looked at a rose, a beautiful red rose?
Yes.
What is a rose? It's beautiful flowers. It's beautiful.
Smell good.
I'm sorry?
Smell good.
It smells good. You know, it says, Yaakov smelled like heaven. When Yaakov went to the cave of Isaac to be blessed, it says, smells like heaven. Isaac smelled the smell of heaven. So you are right. Beauty, Tiferet, it has a smell too. We are supposed to be like roses. Beautiful, with beautiful aroma and a beautiful color. But then every rose tree has thorns. What are the thorns for?
To protect the flower.
To protect the flower. Now, if I want to pick up a rose, to properly enjoy it, I have to be careful. I have to be careful with the flower. I cannot go simply grasp this beauty. I have to do restriction. I have to make sure I wear a glove, or cut it properly, or properly treat it to become what it is. This is the whole concept of chesed, gevurah, and tiferet. When a rose receives all the light from love, from chesed, the beauty, everything, and then it builds itself in it. A lot of thorns, which represents judgment and strength. And then, if you probably want to use a rose, you have to exercise what we call balance in order for you to properly enjoy the smell and the beauty of the rose. So we see that this combination of Chesed, Gevurah, and Tiferet, even though it's perfect, it's not quite perfect. There is issues with it. There is difficulties with it. There is restriction that comes with it. It's cold. It's very cold.
It's getting very cold.
Getting very cold. میشه اون رو یه ذره خاموشش کنیم, then we can turn it on again. Not the fan, the cooler. No. اون یکی. وسطه. Okay.
It's called cold.
So the source of judgment, the seed level of judgment, was created by God for our benefit. But then somehow it tells us to be very, very careful with it. Don't use it too much. God didn't use Isaac too much. Isaac was praying all day. So in order for us, Torah is telling us to properly be a judgmental person, I have to constantly connect myself to the world of spirituality. Because if I judge based on physicality, based on my 5 senses, I make a wrong decision. It's a wrong judgment. Is it clear? Jacob didn't fall in love with Rebekah because Rebekah was beautiful, gorgeous, rich, or she was from uptown. Isaac. Rebekah was a very, very young girl. And he saw her from afar. And then she came to the tent of Isaac's mom, Sarah. And the moment she walked in, Isaac saw the candle that her mom used to light up again by itself. So he realized, oh my God, she is full of light. I want that. So what are we learning from Torah? That the only way you can make a right judgment is if your judgment is based on spirituality, is not based on my physical ability. There is no way that you could judge just based on your 5 senses. You can never judge a person. You know, we have a saying in Farsi, right? There is a famous quote that نه همین لباس زیباست نشان آدمیت, right? So just the physical appearance of something, it cannot tell you the whole truth. But there must have been a better reason for God to create judgment, to create the energy of judgment. Why did he create the judgment? Why was it necessary? Why? When is judgment good for you? When you see someone who's nice, who's good, who's kind, and you love it. You see him, you judge him, good people, kind people, righteous people. What happens to you? What happens to you?
You get a positive energy.
You get a positive energy. Do you get it from that guy, or you had some inner energy within you that all of a sudden it was awakened? It was in you. It was in you. When you see someone kind, nice, giving, caring, there is part of you who's giving, caring, and is full of light, and that becomes awakened. The beauty of the rose is not for the rose, it's for you, because there is a good aroma within you. There is a beauty within you. So when I see someone and I like something in that person, whatever that is, you see him kind, you see him giving, you see him full of love, Or say, oh, he's such a giving person, such a forgiving person, so kind, he's honest. The fact that you see that, that means it's within you. It's that part of you that becomes awakened, becomes revealed in you. If you didn't have love, you couldn't distinguish the love from other people. If you didn't have kindness in you, you couldn't distinguish kindness in other people. So when you see something positive and good, what happens? It awakens that good and positivity that is within you. And chances are that you're going to talk good about that person. You know, I see Ramin is my good friend and I love him, and every time I see him, I feel good about Ramin, then I feel good about myself. Why? Because he brings the good out of me. He brings the good out of me. So Ramin in my life is a vessel for me to see that there is good in me too, because I can distinguish the good that is in Ramin. And when I'm happy to be with Ramin, that helps me to become a more positive person, more giving person, a kinder person. So that's the purpose of Ramin being in my life. Now, if I see Amir,
It's even better.
and then I don't like something about Amir. Don't like Amir. I have to pick someone. I can only pick on you. What happens? Let's say I say, oh, Amir is an angry person. Every time I see him, he's angry. That's something you're not, so I can pick on that. What happens when I judge Amir to being an angry person?
The anger is within you.
The anger is within me, and all of a sudden, I see it, I distinguish it. Right? Now, I can look at this phenomenon, two things. I can totally be captured by my ego, and I say, oh, Amir is such an angry person. I don't want to deal with him. I don't want to see him. I don't want to go out with him. I don't like him. And talk bad about him. Now, when I say all these things, what am I manifesting in myself? Negativity, lashon hara, fear, anxiety, all that. Who created that? I did it. Why? Because I feed it, or I awakened that what I distinguished, that what I judged in Amir. So Amir became the manifestation of something that was within me. Now that's one way of judging Amir. The other way is, after tonight's class, I'm going to tell myself, oops, if I can distinguish that Amir is angry, that means there are tendency of anger in me. I have anger in me, and I need to work on that on myself. I need to be in control of my behavior and anger. So Amir is actually, again, awakening something that is within me. How can I see that? By exercising strength. Gevurah not only gives you judgment, it only gives you the strength to see it. The power for you to see it. So there are two ways of judging everything in our life. And the reason behind this phenomenon, consciousness that God created and every one of us has, there's only one purpose for it. And that's for your own benefit. Because it's you that by your judgment you can bring peace and shalom and fulfillment to your life, or God forbid, you can bring agony, sadness, and a lot of other negative things in your life. And if you properly judge who? Judge yourself. Because everybody in your life is a mirror of you. People in your life, they're only showing what is within you. What is it inside of you? good people, bad people, ugly people, beautiful people, all kind of characters, everything that we experience that causes to judge to be there, not to be there, to say things or not to say things, to react or not to react. We do that, and if I don't become aware that everything that God has created and giving me the power to judge it, it's only for one purpose only. To enhance myself, to change myself, to see what I need to change, to see what I need to work on. Whatever you distinguish, whatever you see, the essence of that is within you. So judgment, actually, it's a tool to overcome tikkun, correction. And if we are a judgmental person, if I'm someone who constantly judge everything and everyone, constantly, we know people like that in our life, right? In our family, in our circle of friends, there are people who judge constantly. They are judging other people, and God forbid, when they are judging negativity about everything else, what is that indication? For me. Not for them, for me. When you see that, all of a sudden you're at the time and a place with someone who's judging negativity, the world, economy, culture, friendship, whatever. And you distinguish all that, and you see all that. It's a vehicle for us to see what our tikkun is. Whatever hurts me more, that means there is spark of that correction within me. And the negative side is so powerful. It's so powerful that always makes us think that we are the righteous one. We are the righteous. Oh, he's angry, I'm not. He's a thief, I'm not. Well, maybe I'm not as bad as he is. He's the worst. Right? Because now I'm seeing, I'm judging, but it's hard for me to use that to fix myself. It's always easy to fix others. It's always easy to judge others. Always easy to judge others. It's kind of give you a self-satisfaction when you judge other people. But realize what you're doing when you judge, and you judge negativity. That means you're seeing everything that you need to work on yourself. And chances are that we're not. We don't want to do anything about it because it's too difficult. The reality sometimes, most of the time, is too difficult to handle. But then again, I want to be happy with everything that I see. You know, there is a Judgment Day in Hebrew calendar, right? We call it Rosh Hashanah. 2 days. We actually call it a Moed. It's a new year. But apparently, it's a Judgment Day. They say on those 2 days, you go to court, a heavenly court. And God has a book. Right? And he goes, oh, last year, you did this, you ate this, you didn't do, da-da-da-da. Bam! This is the simple understanding what Rosh Hashanah is all about. But before we get to Rosh Hashanah, there is a whole month of Elul before Rosh Hashanah. The month of Virgo. Is anybody Virgo here? Ah, good. We didn't have much of a Gemini, but we have Virgo. Virgo, what is Virgo famous for?
Judgment, the best.
The best. They are. No, truly, what are, if you know a little bit of astrology, what are Virgos famous for?
Perfectionist.
Perfectionist. They can
Detail-oriented.
distinguish everything, right?
Detail-oriented.
Details oriented. Detail oriented. Why God created Virgos? What are Virgos doing? Let's not talk about the Scorpios. Another time we talk about Scorpios. Let's stay with Virgos. It's much safer. The month of Elul is the month that we are supposed to look into ourselves. Look into ourselves before judgment. You know, let's say, God forbid, you have a court date. On such a day, you're supposed to go to court. And the judge gives you 30 days to prepare yourself to go to court on the first day of the month of Libra, on the first day of Rosh Hashanah. What do we do in those 30 days? You prepare, you know, if you have to go to court, you start preparing your paperwork. You're going to look into everything that you did. You go through everything that you need to work on. You probably hire a very good lawyer. You make your file proper, so when you go to see the court, you can defend yourself. How is the best way of defending yourself? If you are guilty, admit. If you are guilty, and everything is against you, you know you did wrong, you know you made a mistake, you know you lied, you know you cheated, you know all that, and you're going in front of the Almighty Judge. How do you hope that He lets you go? If you admit it, and if you make a promise not to do it again. God, I made a mistake by lying. Please, I admit, I lied. I'm not hiding it. I lied. I looked into myself. I realized I lied. And I promise not to make that mistake anymore. That means, what did you do? The Teshuvah, which means Kabbalistically going back to the origin. That means I judge myself. Before you judge me, I judge myself. And I admit that I made a mistake. And I give you my oath, my promise that I'm not going to do it again. This way, you become an Israel again. So, this whole month of Elul, again, Virgos are famous for what? Detail-oriented. You know, you ask a Virgo, what was the color of this ballroom? She probably, or he probably can tell you exactly the color and the problem with the colors. Everybody else may not even notice it. Why they have such an ability? Because in order to properly judge something, you need all the details. You need all the details. If you want to judge something, tell me everything. Don't hide anything from me. I want to see everything. You know, the planet that rules, actually, Gemini and Virgo, is the planet Mercury. Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun. It goes around the Sun
88 times.
88 times. In 22 days or 26 days, Mercury goes around the Sun. You know, it takes Earth 365 days to go around the Sun. Mercury quickly goes because they are quick to judge, they are quick to see, and because they are close to the Sun, they see everything. So in order for you to properly judge yourself, you need the ability of seeing the details, quickly finding out and working on it. You know, one of the meaning, the Hebrew meaning of the month of Elul is Betulah, which means virgin, which means something that is pure, something that is untouched. And we all can get back to that stage if we look at ourselves, judge ourselves, and fix ourselves as fast as we can. Now, I want to touch something. I want to bring this home. I want to bring this whole wisdom home. Why God gives me the things that it's so difficult to judge? Or why God creates a situation for me that when I judge, I don't understand it? We don't understand things. Things happen in this world that is so difficult to understand. And we judge and we move on and we go and we see things. The problem with judging other people, when we start judging other people versus judging ourselves, because we never see the big picture behind everything that we see, I cannot judge Amir because I don't know what goes on in the heart of Amir. I don't know what Amir is going through. I don't know why Amir is wearing white tonight. I don't know his heart. I can simply judge him. Oh, Amir wear this white jacket, and judge him based on what he wore. And it always comes, the wrong judgment always comes when I only see what physically is being manifested, and that's my perception of things. And then we judge people constantly, because we're not using this consciousness properly. And every time that we judge people without understanding what's going on in their life, why they are here, why they are in my life, what am I supposed to learn by seeing different colors, different cultures, different religions, different behaviors, different consciousness? And we always make mistake, and it always comes back to us when we want to reach to a conclusion based on our judgment. Is everybody clear where we're going? So, we don't know what happens in people's house, in people's consciousness. We only see what they put out. And we judge them based on that. And when we do that, because everybody in this world is a reflection of who I am, I will be judged unfairly and justly. No one would understand me. The reason that people don't understand us, judge us wrongly, accuse us wrongly, treat us wrongly, is because I judged wrongly. I had the wrong perception about everybody in my life. Every time that you want to make a judgment, the first thing we have to do is to push back our judgment. I have to ask myself, why this person is in my life? Why this situation occurred for me in my life? What is it for me to see? Instead of judging it, because everything that is easy is the byproduct of ego and Satan. Judging people, good or bad, if it's lightly, it's not the work of your consciousness, spiritual consciousness. Imagine every time you want to judge someone, for all the good reason or the wrong reason, if you exercise a pause, a restriction, just a moment, why am I judging this person? He might be negative, he might be wrong, he might be hateful, but the moment I stay away from judging him of who he is, or what he represents, and I look at myself, that there is something here for me to work on myself. And, I've said this before. In the movie of life, it's so easy to play the star role, the hero, the good guys. People in this world, people who are naturally good, naturally giving, naturally caring. It's built in them. It's an easy role for them. It's an easy role. It's not a difficult role. For people who choose to come to this world and have difficulties, they don't have it all. They come to this world with disabilities, lacks, whatever it is. Because they choose that life before they came to this world, it's a more rewarding role in life is. That means when I see poor kids in Africa, in Syria, in Iran, in China, wherever I see a poor kid, and I want to make a judgment that why such a person exists in this world. To understand that only special souls are willing to come to this world and play the hard roles. People who suffer, people who have disabilities, people who have limitation in whatever they have, people who are not normal to our eyes, and they become the subject of our judgment. They are righteous souls. They choose a tough life because they had to manifest that for God. They are part of the army of God, manifesting what God wants to manifest, and it's not easy. Imagine God is a producer of this movie. He wants to create a perfect movie with everything in this movie, drama, comedy, war, whatever. Perfect movie with everything in it. Now God needs different actors and actresses to play different roles. Have you noticed lately Academy Awards gives the best prize to someone who really not himself and plays a very difficult role and a negative role? It's not always the hero who gets the Academy Award. Why? Because playing a tyrant, playing a negative person, it's difficult, it's not easy. As an actor, you want to be Paul Newman, you want to be Robert Redford. You don't want to be some small kids getting beat up playing wrong negative roles. But some people choose that. Some souls choose to be in that movie because of what God needs soldiers to play that movie. And they are the one who are the victim of judgment in this world. We judge colors, race, sexuality, behavior, not knowing that these people who are the subject of our judgment, they are righteous people. They're here only to show you something. They're playing this role to tell you there is something in you that you need to work on. If you don't love thy neighbor as yourself, if you don't respect your neighbor as yourself, if you think you're higher than somebody else, then you have issues to resolve. Every time we judge someone negatively, we're cutting them down. Why? Because I want to put myself up. That means there is a lack in me. That I'm not totally content with who I am. I need to have someone so I can judge and cut down, so I feel better about myself, because I don't feel better about myself without him. I need these characters in my life. And God brings these people in my life. Only for one purpose. Not for me to take advantage and judge them and feel good about myself on an ego basis. On the contrary, to work on myself, to understand that look, he or she took a much tougher role than me. And I'm so blessed. And they are created so I can see something in myself to change. If I'm sensitive about a color, sexuality, behavior, language, I have issues. I don't see my neighbors as myself. I think I am something superior. And then I lost the ball game. Life, the game of life. I've lost it all. Because I'm not seeing it right. I'm not properly using the power of judgment that comes with the strength. The judgment is so fascinating. Kabbalah is so fascinating. Judgment and strength is the same thing. How could it be? When I started learning Kabbalah and I was trying to understand the Sefirot, judgment, strength, how could it be? Not knowing, in order for you to properly judge something, you have to use strength. Hold back. There's an indication for you. There's something in there for you to see. And when you exercise that, then you have balance. Then you see beauty. Then you smell like flowers. When you work on yourself. When you judge with your love. Because Geburah is the byproduct of Chesed. Isaac is the byproduct of Abraham. Only with love, only with compassion you can judge. Only with understanding, only with unconditional love you can judge. If you judge without considering any of these aspects of Chesed, you are lost. Lost opportunity. And God gives you another opportunity. It's a tougher one. You know, we talk about the concept of letting go. Letting go. Because we hold on to things. This negative force, this angel of negativity, the only way this angel can have energy is for you to hold on to garbage, to negativity, to wrong judgment, to blame others, to sit in your depression, to sip in your sadness, to sip in your anger. Letting go is the aspect of Chesed. And every time that I'm judging someone negatively, and it happens all the time, 24/7, something will pop out for you. And it's only by letting go of your feeling, understand that I'm giving force to the dark side, but not letting go. You cannot go free unless you let go. You cannot be forgiven if you don't forgive. Yes, we have power to judge. Yes, we have to use it, but we have to use it properly. And we have to learn to let go of the byproduct, of the effect of wrong judging, negative judging. Any question?
How do you face a person who is loving money, is rich, promiscuous, and at the same time atheist?
Yes.
If you meet somebody with this character, how do you judge that person?
You have to judge that.
Very good. There is someone that is an atheist, he loves money, that's all he thinks about. Why is he in my life? Why do I see him? Why do I distinguish him? God created him for me. What am I supposed to learn? The things that I don't like about other people are the things that I'm supposed to fix in myself. In the beginning of the class, I used two examples of Ramin as a good boy and Amir as a bad boy. Sorry, Amir, I love you. Every time I see Ramin, that good in me comes out. I have to make use more of that. To control what? To control when there are Amirs in my life that awaken that negativity in me. And then, by using the good that is in me to overcome and to work on the things that I need to overcome that they are lacking in my life. One thing I don't want to be atheist. We don't necessarily have to judge him We have to see it, distinguish it, understand it. And you know, one thing that I always tell my kids is, you learn from it, you use it, and you move on. That means, if I don't approve of someone who's power hungry, then I don't want to be a power hungry. You know, the problem is that sometimes, you know, people who gets abused all the time, they become an abuser themselves too, because they don't have the strength to push away what they learned and it was not good. So by judging other people of how they are, unless I work on myself, then I'm adapting what they have, and that negativity that is within me becomes more powerful if I don't try to control it. I always say, you know, in psychology says, regardless of how dark is the world, how darkness exists, I want to stay with the light. So choose life. That's what I want to do. Both reality exists. But where do I want to invest? Where do I want to see? Where do I want to be? How do I want to conduct myself? I learned from an atheist not to be atheist. I learned from a power-hungry person or a money-hungry person not to be like that, to be kinder, gentler, more spiritual. Good point. Good point.
یه اگزمپل فارسی هم هست الان که اینو گفتین من یادم اومد.
بله.
میگه از لقمان حکیم پرسیدن تو چقدر با ادب و با شخصیت هستی و ادب رو از کی آموختی؟ از بی‌ادبان.
Exactly. Any question? No, we're good? Okay. Again, this Saturday night is Shavuot. I love to see you all. We stay up all night. It's truly one of the best nights we have in Eretz Cultural Center. It's a lot of fun. I explain almost every parasha, 5 minutes, usually a minute or two to 5 minutes. I pick up Kabbalistic aspect of that section, and we go through the whole Torah. It's a very powerful night. A lot of good food, a lot of good jokes.
Morning meditation.
A lot of meditation, and